buddies. All right. So nice. Hope everyone had a good weekend. It looks like we're going to be doing this for a while. No, babe, you can go use your microphone. Lunch. Yeah, no one's really watching. Anyway, so I hope you guys are doing well. We're still trying to figure out what's going to be the best option for e-learning. So I've been doing YouTube Live, as you know. There's options for other platforms such as Zoom. So please email me, post on Classroom, do whatever, just to let me know if there's a preference. Okay. So in the interest of moving on, so today what I wanted to do with this stream is follow up with von Thunen's model of agricultural land use, which is amazing. And just as the reminder, this is the diagram that I drew last time. So what we need to know is just how far is everyone, hey Angel, how far away is everything from the market? And we have a great example that we live in being Chicago. So think of downtown Chicago is the market, okay? Then outside of the market, that's where you're gonna get anything like your farmers markets, any fruits and vegetables. Just outside that, little further out is where you can get some cheese. Further out from that is where you're gonna be all in those cornfields. Anytime it comes to von Thunen, you wanna think about these circles. Okay, everything with von Thunen is about the circles. So von Thunen is one that is a great FRQ opportunity, and that's the assignment that I posted on Classroom, and it's on my AP as well. The assignment on my AP that I put the link for and the hard copy on Classroom are exactly the same. There's no difference between the two of them. Just as with everything, if you don't do it, it doesn't count against your grade. If you do it, then it will be counted towards your grade and it can help boost your grade up. I think most people's grades are pretty great, but why not have 150%? I don't see any problem with that. So if you submit it through my AP, I will give you individual feedback on your FRQ responses. The reason why I want to incentivize that is so that way you get familiar with the platform. Since that is how the AP exam is going to be administered, I might be a little too confident or cocky in this, but I really feel like you guys are going to do well on the exam. Just because it's writing and it's doing something that we have been practicing all year, and it's skills that we've been working on all year. So I think we're okay. Maybe that's just me. But anyway, putting money where the mouth is. So I figured what I do now is I would try to start to set you up to be able to do the FRQ that is posted. I gave you the reading, which is from, I think it's either a Barron's or a Princeton's review that focuses on von Thunen. I posted a very short PowerPoint that I'd created in the past that you can refer to as well. The textbook talks about it briefly. There aren't any really great YouTube videos about it, unfortunately, but you should be okay. So from there, I figure I'll just go ahead and explain how to do the FRQ. So if you can see the FRQ, if you go to Classroom, you can see the von Thunen FRQ, or you can see it on my AP. You kind of toggle around. Okay. And the directions are always going to be the same. They're never any different. So let's just look at these two pictures here. All right, so we look up, we've got a truck with what looks like a bunch of produce, cool. And then that looks like a big old piece of farm machinery, and I don't see any cows, so I'm gonna guess that's related to grain. Okay. Then I read the question. The drawings above reflect agricultural activities in the hinterland of a large urban area. All right, so let's pause right there. So we're doing this FRQ, we're practicing for the AP exam, and right away in that first line, you're like, what is the hinterland? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. So if you're just like, who's she? I've never met her. Cool. You don't have to know her. You look at that and you're like, these are two agricultural activities in large urban areas. Next. Don't worry if you see a term that you're not that familiar with, because it really isn't necessary to know all of the terms in order to succeed on this. All right, next. So moving on. So part A. Apply the underlying principles of von Thunen's model of agricultural land use to predict the locations of the activities shown in X and Y relative to large urban areas. All right, so let's just pause there for now. So just in case you don't have it in front of you. So the first picture, basically the only thing you need to know is that it's got like fruits and vegetables. That's a something, and that's a grapes. And the next one, it's this giant field with a big old machine on it. Okay. That's about it that you see. Okay, and so if you look at that and you're like, okay, applying the underlying principles, that means nothing. All this question is asking, if I'm looking at it, is which rings are these activities going to be located in? Okay, and if you're not familiar with why, if you're like, I don't know if that's graining or I'm not sure if that's mixed crop or livestock farming, again, it doesn't matter, because it's saying X and Y. So you want to talk about it in relationship to the distance to the market. Okay, so we know from looking at these, if this is fruits and vegetables, these guys are heavy. They have to be transported on a truck. So these are going to have to be close to the market. This grain, it's going to be farther away from the market. Okay, and that's it. Okay, you don't have to say that it's in the first ring or it's in the second ring. In fact, I discourage that because sometimes you'll see people outline the rings a little bit differently. So what's just the easiest thing to do is you think von Thunen, immediately think about that little piggy and how far are we going to the market? Banana. Na. So you would say that the type of farming in X is going to be close to the market because of the issues related to transportation. Okay, the type of farming shown in Y is going to be farther away from the market due to needs for space. Something very straightforward like that. Okay, for this, you want to make sure FRQ Part A, how many sentences are we going to go for? I would say a minimum of 2. Don't go over 2 sentences. Okay, it's extra. All the question is asking you is in which ring are these activities? Okay, and since you can't cite a specific ring, then you're really just saying it's close to the market or it's farther away. Cool. So that's part A. So now let's look at part B. We'll see how this guy's also very simple. Choose either activity X or activity Y and apply the underlying principles of von Thunen's agricultural land use model to explain the location of the activity. Okay, cool. So in part A, you said how close or how far it was to the market. Okay, so like based on the city. So if you think in the urban area, then we're talking about it in terms of the market. Okay, now for part B, what they want is the details related to one of those about why it needs to be close or far away to the market. Okay, so for part B, pick either one you want. Okay, and then you can go through in the PowerPoint and just list the things that influence where the rings are. So that means what's one of the first things we need to consider? We need to think about space. How much space does this form of agriculture require? The other thing that we want to think of is transportation costs. How much is it going to cost to transport those goods? Thinking that with things like dairy, you need to consider how you need to pay for refrigeration, and there's spoilage issues. For fresh market gardening, you have to consider how heavy is this stuff. So it has to be transported by truck. That's the second thing you want to think of. And then the third thing that you want to think of, it's how expensive is the land? Okay, so how expensive is the actual space that they can get? The further away you get from the city, the cheaper the land is going to be. So it's just kind of like anything. If you want the most expensive apartment, you live in downtown Chicago, the further away you go, it's going to get a little bit cheaper. Then you get more space for a yard for your dog, unless you have an overweight dog like I do. He's getting a lot of exercise though now. Nice. So for this one, how many sentences then do we want that to be? Maybe 2 to 3. Okay, I would think ideally 3. Okay, so 3 sentences for that one. And then you're going to want to think about it in the amount of space, cost of land, cost of transportation. Okay, all of these things are going to be kind of described in that PowerPoint that I posted. So if you're like, I'm not sure how these things relate or how these things work out, then you can always go to the PowerPoint or ask me more questions. I think Zoom will be pretty good if we can get Zoom going, because then I like YouTube Live because you can post a message, but with Zoom, you have the option of tapping in with audio or visual, whichever you'd like. Yeah, which I prefer much more than just me talking, but cool. Anyway, 2 sentences for A, quick and dirty. This is what X is, this is what Y is. 3 sentences for B, again, quick and dirty, space, cost of land, and that. Then when I look at C, discuss 2 factors, so I'm just going to even write that down to the side, that explain why agricultural land use patterns today differ from those developed by von Thunen's model in 1826. Okay, that part C is a gift. Okay. If you get a question like part C, that's really the AP exam just giving it to you, because it wants you to give them 2 reasons why things are different in 1826 than they are in 2020 based on space, cost of land, and cost of transportation. That's pretty great. So you can pick whichever ones you want, and it'll be 4 sentences. Why 4? Because it wants 2 different reasons. So 2 sentences for reason 1. Then 2 sentences for reason 2. Okay, so think of it like that. Excellent. Okay. Other than that, and that's how we're going to deconstruct it. This is an old FRQ. That's why it's only 3 parts. Okay, as far as I know, the FRQs that you guys are going to get will be the 7-part ones that we were doing in class. But this is for practice, so we're just going to keep it with this format as it is. So go through and try to answer these questions to the best of your ability. Remember, just trying to think about how we can keep our language very simple, very straightforward. How are you formatting your answers? not about how am I writing very long treatises on von Thunen's model. Okay, they are very paranoid about academic dishonesty for this AP exam. Have to do with picture Y. Oh, nice, great question. So cost of transportation, so it's gonna be much farther away. So they're gonna have to, the amount that they're gonna have to pay for the transportation will be more because they're gonna have to travel a longer distance, but the land will be cheaper, if that helps. So you're going to be paying more for your transportation expenses, but less for the land. Okay, I hope that helps. Great question, a really great question. Okay. It's not more cost effective necessarily to be in any particular ring. All of the costs are about the same for everybody. It's what's offsetting it. Are you paying more for transportation and less for land? More for land, less for transportation, stuff like that. Cool. So this is the process that you want to get down for how to look at a question. Looking at it, reading each part, keeping track of what's the question asking, how much do I need to write for each question. If you're not familiar with something, then what is the basic concepts that you can connect it back to? And how can you take the sort of tricky language in the question and simplify it? This question asks you to apply the underlying principles of von Thunen's agricultural land use model multiple times, and just the way that's worded is confusing. But it's really just asking you, do you know what von Thunen's model is? That's it. Do you know von Thunen's model? And as of now, you do. And even if you don't, when you're taking the AP exam, you can use your notes. So whatever you do, just don't copy anything from the book and you'll be okay. So no copying from the book, putting it in your own words. That's the other reason why it's good to practice with this, because it's going to be almost identical to what your AP conditions are like, being you can use any notes that you have. The only things you are limited by is time and making sure that you're not copying anything directly. So that's about it. My AP classroom, and I will give you feedback on that. I put this one up for today, and then I'm going to do another one on shifting cultivation. So I'm not going to be posting anything new from the textbook anytime soon. Technically, e-learning starts April 13th. So I'm going to keep posting. That's like technical. I'm going to keep posting all through this week regardless. But they want to make sure that the week of spring break is kept sacred. So I'm going to respect that. So I will not post anything for that week. But then when we come back from break, I think I'm going to switch over to Zoom then. Unless someone says I really hate Zoom. Yes. So that's my plan for that. If you have any issues logging into College Board for whatever reason, it's no shade, no trouble, no nothing. Just let me know, because I need to let the powers that be at Kenwood know, because that's going to catch up to us when it comes to the AP exam. The good news-ish in all of this is that the AP exam will probably get pushed back to June. So lots of good things. It's going to be in June. It's only free response questions. You get to type them up, and it's open notes. I really think this is kind of a best case scenario as far as we can go. No multiple choice questions is amazing, because those questions are usually petty anyway. Nice. So try out your best on the FRQ, and I can check it out. You can always ask me any types of questions you have. If you want to have fun with von Thunen, if you just want like a little art project, I have magazines, so I was going to make a von Thunen collage, where I was thinking I would put like just cut out food advertisements and then kind of see where I would put them in a circle. because I do love Thunen. I'm going to keep adding to the playlist different agriculture videos. We're going to do work on this tonight. Tomorrow, I'm going to post an FRQ about and discuss an FRQ on shifting cultivation. And then we're going to talk about kind of the agricultural revolution. I'll also post some recommendations I have that are for videos on Netflix, which will cover the material too, if you kind of want a book alternative. But that's the main thing I have for today. Unless I don't know what else to say really, other than I hope you guys are doing all right. Really hope you're doing all right. I hope that you're getting a lot of sleep. And maybe doing some creative stuff, because you guys are incredibly creative, and hopefully this is kind of giving you the power to do some more creative projects. Hey, bud. But yeah, I don't have anything else other than that for right now. Suggestions, comments, advice, tips, all of that is welcome. And other than that, I hope you have a great day. This was a shorter one. Okay, I love you all, and I appreciate you all very much, and I miss you very much, and I hope you're doing well as best as you can, and staying safe and socially distancing, and doing something that you find inspiring. Okay.